Welcome to the Tenant Podcast. I'm Todd Pearson here in Denver, Colorado, and 395 miles exactly on the road of enchantment is my friend and podcast partner, Wes Brown.
Hello, everybody.
How are you, buddy?
I'm great. I live on Enchantment Road. How it can't get any better than that. I feel enchanted every day.
I feel
get
like
up on Enchantment Road.
it's going to be a little surreal tonight, I think.
I think so. This will be a lot of fun.
This is episode 39.
Yes.
And I was thinking about it today. This is a special number. A special number. 13 is a magic number for our next guest. So
right.
3 times 13?
39.
39, brother.
That's awesome. Coincidence or numerology? You decide. Let's kick it off, my friend.
We have a great episode for you this evening. We are talking with a phenomenal artist that I've kind of been following on social media for a little bit. And then our friend Bill Thomason from Bit Factory reached out to me and said, hey, you should get this artist on. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool, because I was just checking out her stuff on social media and thinking, man, she's really good. I need to get her on. So ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have Krista Lea. Krista, how are you this evening?
Hey, guys.
Nice.
How's it going?
It's going good.
Good.
I'm glad you're all masked up. No germs will be spread tonight.
There's no coronavirus tonight on the Zoom.
There's no COVID going on here, baby.
I mean, it's really the 5G I'm worried about.
Right?
Well, I can tell you that I can see that you're wearing your anti-5G head apparatus.
Right?
Yeah. That's it's stylish.
Tinfoil hat is excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you know you won't be going up in flames anytime soon.
No. Wait. If I microwave myself, though, I might.
Yeah, don't microwave yourself. Stay out of the way of microwaves when you're wearing that.
All right.
So how
I wish
are
our
you?
listeners could see it.
I know, right?
This is awesome. Krista, it's great to have you.
Yeah, it's so good to be here.
Oh, good.
Not here, but all right. I'm chilling.
All right. And look at your eyes. She just took her glasses off.
She's got very pretty blue eyes.
She does.
They're huge.
Azure blue.
Azure blue.
And the smoking hat.
She's rocking a hat with one of her own creations on it.
Yeah.
I am.
And then she's got product placement in the background. So art all around, created by Artby13.
Artby13.
So let's talk about that. How did you come up with Artby13? Let's talk about that.
So I actually didn't. It just happened to come about because I was hanging out with a buddy one night and we were just messing around and we were coming up with graffiti tag names because they were all into graffiti. And so he was born on the 4th of July and I was born on Friday the 13th. So we come up with this funny idea of each of us having tags with our birthdays, and his had fireworks and, the 4 and all that. And then mine was the F and the 13. So we came up with these funny tags. And then next thing you know, there's this girl that we were friends with had a tattoo artist in town. And this was in Steamboat. So he came into town and they said, he'll do anything you want for $20. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get a tattoo. Screw it. Let's do it. So we went over there and he was doing her chest piece. She had a massive chest piece. And so it was my turn. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get that old tag I did the other night, but screw it. So he went ahead and tattooed it on me in her kitchen. and I just had it on my rib cage. And then, after time, I was like, you know what? I really like this idea of not having my name tied to my artwork, because I didn't really take my artwork serious at first. It was just for fun. And I told Todd that, when I first started painting when I was 25, I'm 33 now, but it was just for fun because I wanted to paint stuff that would look cool on my walls that I couldn't buy. And also it was fun. So I wasn't really taking that serious until after a while I was like, you know what? I'm going to start putting that on my stuff because I just think it's cool. And my friends are all graffiti writers. So I'm like, yeah, I like that idea. Kind of like letting it be a design instead of me being like, Krista did this.
Right. No, that's total cool. I love that.
Thank you.
In case you didn't hear or haven't tuned into it, there's a little twang in Krista's voice. Krista, where'd you grow up at?
I'm from Amarillo, Amarillo, Texas. Actually, I grew up in Friona, Texas.
Is that like a suburb of Amarillo?
Well, it's about an hour from Amarillo. It's a very, very small town, one of the poorest towns in the state. And you know how big Texas is. So
yeah.
That says a lot. So if Texas, this is what my English teacher used to say. She'd say, if you want to show someone where you're from, you hold up this is Texas, right? So I'm from here.
From the very top tip.
Right. So nobody really knows anything about it. I'm about 6 hours away from Denver. Well, my mother is, but I grew up in Friona. It was a very small town. My dad was a football coach, and my mother was going to school at the same college I went to, which is West Texas A&M. I wear this little guy every day. My dad actually works for this ring company now. They sell yearbook stuff and all of this, like, I'm not really sure what you would call it, but they sell like the graduate stuff, like the yearbooks and all those things. But either way, my dad did roofing in the summers, so he was an entrepreneur. And then my mother went to school and she was working at a bank full time and then carpooling to college, which was about 45 minutes away. So I grew up around, in a very small community. And actually, fun fact, our high school, which oddly enough was the Friona Chieftains, was the first school to actually integrate blacks and whites into school.
That's awesome.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I found that out later because I thought it was so funny. The headdress, we used to have a headdress that would hang in our car, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's now become so controversial, but yet at the same time, my high school, the schools I went to were the very first in the state to actually end segregation. I thought that was pretty neat, but yeah, I grew up there. And then when I was 5, we went to Amarillo, and then I lived there till I was 23.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And what brought you to Colorado? What was the what was the drive?
Well, so I didn't really know what I was going to do after college because I kind of fly by the seat of my pants on a lot of things. And I went to college in the same fashion. I was supposed to go to a very conservative college, Lubbock Christian. And I wanted to play golf. All of a sudden, I played golf and I played soccer all through high school. Last minute, I'm like, you know what? About a month before graduating high school, I think I want to play golf in college. So I just sent out tapes, and then this college accepted me. I went down there, and about 5 days into orientation, it may have been 3, we were supposed to go to chapel. We had a curfew. We couldn't leave town. And for only one weekend a month, we could leave town. And I'm like, I'm going to get kicked out. Like, there's no way I'll make it through here. So literally 3 days into just like the orientation, I go home and I'm like, you guys, mom, dad, I can't do this. I'm going to get kicked out. They're like, you know, Krista, you guys stick it out. See what's up. You haven't even met your golf coach or your team yet. Like, just chill. And so, all right, whatever. I'm sitting there, and then I get a phone call from my roommate who says, hey, Krista, they pulled all the golfers off the bus today because they were going on a retreat that I skipped out on because I was freaking out and like, Mom, I need to go home for a couple days. Well, they pulled all the golfers off the bus and said, hey, you guys, your coach just resigned because he told everyone, or he told them he was getting a divorce, and they made him resign.
Wow.
That's hardcore.
That is hardcore.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I said, okay, can I come home now? All right, fine. You can go to your safety school. So yeah. So I ended up at WT, West Texas A&M, which is an ag school. And I'm certainly not an ag girl, but I decided to, I started working at a ski shop whenever I was 18, believe it or not, in Amarillo, which is odd to people because it's 4 hours from Taos, New Mexico, or 5 to Taos and 4 to Angel Fire. So there, you know, people would pick up their rentals, and it actually does get very cold in Amarillo. It's about 7 hours from Golden to my mother's house, and then it's about 6 from Aurora down there. So very similar climate, pretty cold. So they sell a lot of like sweaters and winter coats, and then people would go skiing to New Mexico and they would pick up their rental skis there. That way, when they got to New Mexico or even Colorado, they would just have their stuff with them, and boom, they're there. They don't have to go to the rental shop. So
Right.
I started working there. What is so funny?
I think it's just funny that I think it's funny that you get rentals from in Texas to go skiing. No, that's what I think is funny. It's just hilarious. That's awesome. It's awesome.
Well, I mean, they were obviously I'm not going to go there. They weren't the nicest rentals.
Oh, well, we don't want to go there, but
No,
that's all right.
It's a cool shop though. It was my college job, so I fell in love. I fell in love with skiing. We got free passes to Angel Fire all throughout college. So I became hooked, and we'd go do our suicide runs where we'd drive 4 hours to get there in the morning, leave at, 4 a.m. or whatever, and then leave again at 4 p.m., ski all day, drive all the way home. That's how hardcore I was. And now I live here, and 45 minutes to Winter Park, I'm like, do I want to do this?
That's what happens when you turn 30. All of a sudden it's like, oh my God, that's so far.
I know. That's true though. It's true.
So what did you study at Texas A&M, West Texas A&M?
I studied accounting, and that just was a total fluke because I was telling Todd, actually, I made him talk to me for like 2 hours twice. I don't know how long it was, but I went to school originally. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was 18. I'm like, okay, we grew up broke. So my parents, they wanted my dad said, I never want you to have to depend on a man. I never want you guys to have to depend on a man for money. So we're going to make sure we get you through college. But the deal was you have to go in state. So I ended up, all that happened, shenanigans with the school I was supposed to go to. And so I went to West Texas. And the first year I skipped golf. I didn't play a sport, nothing. And I thought, I want to do science of some sort because I like to think logically. And to me, I really love biology, but I ended up, I'll be a pharmacist. They make good money. So I took chemistry. I shadowed a pharmacist. Not my deal. So then I'm like, well, I work at a ski shop. This is the best job ever. We're shotgunning beers behind the building during work hours. So, and then just talking about skis all day long with homies, and everyone's coming in just like, hey, you're the ski shop people, y'all are so key. And we're like, yeah, this is the best. So I decide, I'll open my own business. So then I go into school for marketing, and I took marketing, and that was my major. And I was like, this is so nebulous. I just don't understand it. Being science minded, to me, it didn't make sense to go to school for that. But that was just me. I just didn't learn from it. So accounting was a required course within that. So I basically was really good at it, and everybody else was failing. And I was suddenly, now I'm playing golf for the school on a whim. I don't know how that happened. Anyways, I basically had an A, and I'm like, oh, everyone says I can make good money doing this, so I guess I'll do this.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I ended up getting my master's, because then I hear, well, if you're going to go ahead and do this, you may as well keep going, because if you want to be an accountant, if you're a CPA, you can make twice as much. So I end up with a master's in accounting, and I'm like, okay, now what? I don't really like this that much. It's chill, but like, I didn't know who I was yet, right? So it was just a series of events. But
that's how life usually is, I think, for most people. I think it's a series of events, and doors open and opportunities come, and you either take them or you don't, but, explore different ideas. I've done that too, most of my life. So yeah, cool.
And I think there's a lot of people that don't know what the hell they want to do, right out of high school or even through their 20s,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how you can, unless your parents really instill that within you. And, as you're growing up, maybe, what for me, it was when I was first a child, I just drew constantly. And so I'd enter these contests for the school that they would submit. I would submit like 10 drawings into this contest they'd have every year. I forget what it was called, but it was through the school district, through the state. And I remember I'd end up, there'd be like 5 categories, and I'd submit so many that I'd get like first, second, fourth, 7th, like, because I don't know if anybody else even entered the contest, but I would just enter so many. And then I remember during school, we would all do the Valentine's Day exchange, where everyone had their little Valentine's boxes on their desks when we were little. And so I remember one year I drew caricatures of every single kid in the class for their own Valentine, and gave them to every single kid in the class. And I'm sure most of the kids were like, what the is this? What is wrong with this freaking? Is she like obsessed with us? Like, what is happening?
That's awesome.
That's cool.
It was so fun. I did it just because it was in me. And so when you grow up, you forget who you really, really are, because society starts to tell you, hey, this is the way adults behave. These are the rules of the game. So you lose that. I think a lot of kids do. So for me, I lost that because sports became such a huge part of my life, because it was the culture of where I grew up. So there was such an emphasis on, if you want to be successful, you got to do sports. There's nothing to do where I grew up. So it was team sports. That was what was the thing. And there's a show called Bomb City that basically explains the story of a guy, Brian Dennehy, who was a punk rocker. He was very counterculture, and he got into a brawl with the jocks, who were the football players. They ran the town. Athletes run the towns there. So if you want to be powerful, if you want to be a somebody, you need to be in sports, and you need to be a good athlete. So that became my focus. So anyhow, Brian Deneke, the punk rockers got into a feud with the football players. Well, they were in a parking lot, and this kid who played football for Amarillo High suddenly is like, you know what? And I don't know if he got wrapped up in the moment or what happened, but he charged his car up with one girl in the car and one other guy, and saw Ryan, and he just sped after him and ran him over with his car. Killed him.
Wow.
Got away with it.
That's a crazy story.
I know. It's a true story. And they made this movie, Bomb City. But the part of it that's so cool that ties in with this, Brian Deneke was involved in the biggest national art project of all time that was created in Amarillo that nobody knows about. And I think that's correct, but I'm not positive. So may want to fact check me because I might be wrong.
That's all right.
Either way, that was the culture there. That dude, he went to court. They basically defamated this Brian Deneke person. He was a human being. He's a degenerate. He wears this on his clothing. He's that. And then, we've got this other guy. I can't remember his name. I did not want to say it, but he got off with probation and a fine for murdering this kid. So anyhow, the biggest art project was a guy, Stanley Marsh in Amarillo, who had people put signs up in their lawns that had funny, weird poems or pictures, and they'd be all over town. So I'm not really sure how that worked, but he was an artist, Stanley Marsh, and there's checkered past with this man as well. There's never a simple story behind one person, is what I've started to see in my life growing up. You know, I'm very proud of the fact that where I came from, being as biased as it can be in one way, has also got this cool art history to it. The Cadillac Ranch, that's in Amarillo. So these art projects, they were pretty interesting. There were some kids at my high school and other high schools who would ride around in cars. One of them had a giant swordfish strapped to the top and a megaphone. And there was another one that was like covered in graffiti, and they would just drive all over town with these crazy cars. And like, you know, and then beside my high school, there was a sculpture of feet, just feet standing in a field in the middle of nowhere. Like, I'm telling you, the size of my storage building. And it was a poetic statement. But what's funny was people during, like, you know, the big homecoming games would go out there and they would paint socks on the feet.
That's awesome.
Like,
so when you come from this small town, you're still being exposed to art in different ways.
Right.
Like, that was still the fabric of your childhood, of where you grew up. You were still being exposed to art. Maybe not the way that somebody that grew up in a big city with, you know, a well-known museum or something, but people are still making art, right?
Right.
And it obviously influenced you. What age were you when you realized that you had this ability to draw?
Oh, geez. I don't know. It was actually funny. I came across my mother had given me a USB drive of like childhood videos, like from my day of birth on, and I haven't even gotten through them yet, but I know within the videos, I would say I was about 3 years old, and my dad comes in and he's videoing me, and all I see is my little drawing desk that he made for me, and he opens the drawer, and shows all the crayons, and he's like, here's Krista's desk. And then all of a sudden he's like, he pulls the camera over and he's like, and here's Krista, and I'm underneath the desk, and I'm like, and I'm naked, and he's like, there's Krista in the nude under her drawing desk. So I don't know what I was doing, but yeah, that was, I guess, since I was like 2 or 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
And your parents, and it sounds like your parents encouraged this.
They did.
Right?
Yeah, they did. I would not in any way say that they discouraged me from creating art in middle school, because that's when the sport started, was in middle school. And that's when I noted that that's when I had stopped drawing. And that's when I had stopped really doing it for fun, because I was so focused on the sports. So I literally did not do anything in art whatsoever other than band, which was a required course in middle school. I played the trumpet or the cornet. So other than that, we would doodle notes to each other. Me and my girlfriends would doodle notes and like draw little cartoons in there. I was even into South Park then. I'm still into South Park. Like, I remember, I look back and I still have little Cartmans on my notes from being 10 years old. I'm like, and I still would do Cartmans. Like, I'm the same person. I'm exactly the same.
So fast forward.
Right.
When do you rediscover your passion for art? When you were 25, you said, nice product placement, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I'm famished. I mean, thirsty. Parched.
Parched.
Yeah. I'm parched. Okay, so, here we go. I got an even better one for you. So okay. I was living in Steamboat.
There's a sign.
Yeah.
Steamboat. Yeah.
Don't look at it for too long. So we'll talk about that later. But either way, I was living in Steamboat, and I had some neighbors that were my best friends. They're Megan and Carl. They're married now. They have a kid now. Their kid is hilarious. She hated me. Well, she didn't hate me, but I'm weird about kids, or I was weird about kids. They scared me. So when I first met the kid, she was like 2, and I went over there to see her, and I was like, and she wouldn't even look. She cried. I came in and looked at her. She cried every time I look at her. I'm like, oh my God, I can't come back anymore and visit. But that's, fast forward about 5 years. But when I first moved into Steamboat, I had lived next door to them, and Carl was super into art. He showed me Salvador Dali. He told me about Blick.com. He had all the books. He was airbrushing at the time, and he was like, you like art, like you said you used to do all this stuff, so like I have all this old acrylic paint that I'm not going to use anymore, and I've got probably a little easel I could give you, and this massive canvas. So here, he just gave it to me, and I'm like, whoa, okay. And this canvas is sitting over here, and I already showed Todd, but look how big that thing is. That's an Alice in Wonderland painting that I did. That was my very first painting, aside from my uncle, who was a painter, and my first real painting, I think, was Beanie Babies. But I started playing around with like drawing my Disney stuff, like always. And then next thing you know, I've got this huge mural collage that I did just from him giving me the paints and encouraging me to do it, giving me the stuff. I'm like, this is freaking awesome. And next thing you know, I'm painting little things for people, and they're like, oh, Wu-Tang, that's awesome. Can I buy that? I'm like, yeah, $20, here you go. And then, oh, Biggie Smalls, $20, here you go. Oh, like Hello Kitty, here you go. Just like, things that I would have wanted on my wall. So it was kind of like, it started as fun, and then I'm like, oh, people will buy these for $20. How cool is this? So that's how it started.
Wow. Bill described your art as postmodern pop. Would you agree with that statement?
I don't know what modern is, but yes, Bill knows way more about art than I
do. You incorporate a lot of pop culture. I think he's pretty much on the mark there.
Yeah.
A lot of pop culture into your artwork. And you explore all kinds of different styles, and talk about a little bit the mediums that you work in.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, like I said, I never had plans of being an artist. Like that was never my plan. I just did it for fun. And then, so I would start like painting shelves and painting little rocking horses. I would find it like, someone would be like, I'm throwing this Christmas decoration out. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to repaint that neon green and then make it cool. So it started in that way. And then next thing you know, really, I kept going at it, but I was skiing. That's why I was in Steamboat. I was a skier. So I tore my knee. I got cocky, which seems to happen a lot in my life with these sports that I do. I get something just like all of a sudden I see red and I'm like, and I go crazy. And I hit this jump twice, and I was like, you got this. Cause there was the park there in Steamboat had 3 jumps, and I hit the first 2, overshot those. And then the third one, I was scared to overshoot it. Cause if you do, you land on the flat and it will mess you up. So the first time I hit it, first 2 went over. All right, speed check the third one. And then I knuckled it. So I yard sailed, all my stuff went everywhere. So then I'm like, all right, I got this one more time. So then I go overshoot again. I'm like, all right, I got this. I'm like, oh, speed check, boom. And then I tore my knee. I just laid there, screamed. And then I'm like, all right, I ain't getting a sled. Nope, no sled. I'm like, I'm skiing down. I don't care what y'all say. So with a torn ACL, torn MCL, bone contusions, lacerations, I skied down and then couldn't walk to the car. And then I basically tore my knee and was stuck inside in the middle of dead winter with nothing to do. So now I'm painting, and I'm just like, oh, this is kind of fun, and this is enjoyable. And it became a therapy to me to get away from that sadness of not being able to ski.
Yeah, I bet it was. No, don't be sorry at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when you're passionate that way about a sport or whatever it is in your life, and all of a sudden something happens and it's taken away from you, that's a really difficult thing to have to deal with.
Yeah, it was really hard. So I started doing it as therapy, and I had to move out of there because I realized that I had bigger things that I wanted to accomplish. And then my great aunt passed, and she was a psychiatrist, a doctor. She was the deputy commissioner for the state of Texas for mental health. She had her own helicopter. She had a building named after her. She had laws changed because she was a female. Not that she changed them herself, but they literally had to change the law because she was a woman. And so they had to insert man or woman into the laws for her. So she passed away, and I was like, you know what, Krista, what are you doing? Like, you're not doing anything. So I was like, it's a new chapter in my life. So I moved on, and I moved down to Boulder, and I kind of started to meet some artists. And then I moved to Golden, and then I didn't know anybody yet. I moved to Denver originally in 2010. It's now 2015. All my friends are kind of gone, because I had bounced around left and right, and then I'm here alone with no friends. So I just started painting a lot, painting. And then, acrylic is where I'm at now. I'd love to get into oil, but I've got my pup. I'm a little nervous about her getting into some turpentine. We don't need that happening. So I paint here at my house, and I don't have a studio. So for me, the acrylic is good because I can mix it with mixing mediums. So I like to use Golden, obviously, because I live in Golden. Just kidding. But then you can mix golden acrylics with the golden mediums very easily. In that way, I can play with texture. I can make the acrylic act like an oil if I use a retardant or some kind of other medium. So I just do what I want. I do what I want with it. I play around. I do studies on different artists. If like a friend right now that has bought one of my random abstract pieces, she now wants caricature and a cartoon. So I do that for her and specialize it for her because I know who she is and I want to make it, fit to her. But I also like to do a lot of psychological pieces. And at first it was therapy for me. It still is, but I started to understand that as a human being on this earth, my goal and my plan, and not my plan, but the greater plan, is to figure out my strengths and use those to be the best me I can be, because that way I can make and help others to be their best selves. So suddenly the art became a duty. Like I have this talent, so I have to use it because it was given to me for a reason. So now there comes in this whole element of I'm putting this added pressure on myself of like, oh, you got to do art. You got to do it. This is your gift. You have to. And then I have to keep myself in check of like, you're doing it for fun though. But it is a duty for me. And I'm still working on finding a fine line there between the two of those, not being serious, but being serious. And that's what my art is. It's very funny probably on the surface, but underneath a lot of it, most of it, it's pretty deep. And I would say that not just from me, but things I've looked at later and I'm like, whoa, that's pretty deep there for if somebody were in this situation to look at it, or somebody from this place were to look at it, they could see something subliminally talking to them. And so that's kind of what I try to do, is let people interpret each piece in the way that they want, or not want even, but the way that they do, because that can change over time. So they may perceive it one way at one point in time and then a totally different way in another point of time. So it's just, for me, my art is constantly evolving because I'm constantly evolving. And right now I like to play in acrylic because that's where I'm at. But I've also started, making prints because I've realized that not everyone can afford the pieces. And I do have my costs. I mean, it costs a lot of money. I put a lot of time into these things. And at first it was kind of not a problem. I mean, just, you want to create something, someone wants it. All right. But then after a while you realize I got to make some money back off this because I don't want to be an accountant forever. I really don't. I'm a creative. My mind gets dulled down. And by the end of the day, I have no soul left. So for me, I want to transition into being able to be creative in my life to make me happy. So now I'm starting to transition. This whole COVID thing and pandemic hit right at a time for me where I was transitioning actually out of accounting and into an art career path that I'm somehow trying to make work. So I'm doing prints, which
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
How much do you sell your prints for? I assume that it's based on size, but
Right. So I actually started my own printing business, and that's what I wanted to mention was I actually figured out a way to create my own prints so that I wouldn't have to go through Vistaprint or any of the big, whoever. Yeah, that's who I had my cards made by. Here's a 13 by 19. because this piece already sold. So my original piece sold, for a few hundred, and then not everyone can afford that. And for me, it was always, I'd like to just sell the original only. And that's like, then it's exclusive. No one else can have it. It's special. But then I have people come around that are like, I really like that, but I'd like a print. And then I'm like, you know what? These should be available to everybody, because I think that if they want it and somebody wants it, that's a huge honor to have somebody want my painting that badly, that I want to create prints for people to be affordable. So, I've got my 13 by 19s. So this is my Tupac piece that we can go into later if we want, but these are all $30, and then I'll cut people deals. And obviously, I've got like these newspapers I collect from estate sales from 1971. This is a Lakewood Sentinel newspaper that I just watercolored over. It's a rabbit, and I don't know, there's a lot of glare here, but it's, I try to like use whatever I've got and kind of play with it. So I like the whole idea of upcycling things and recycling things, and then using my mind to kind of create stuff. So I called this one Track Rabbit because there's track going on in the background. And then there's also like an illustration on here too at the bottom there of a dude. And I just like work him into the picture, the overall of this rabbit.
So you took a newspaper and then watercolored over it. So is that an original, what we call original, or is that a reproduction?
That's an original. So the newspapers I will only have originals of, but the paintings I'll have prints of, because I'll have photographer friends of mine help me out and take photos of my artwork, and then we barter with each other. So I'll say, hey, would you like to have me model for you? And then you take photos of my artwork, and then I can get prints made. So we barter in that way, that we're not only networking, but we're helping each other. Instead of spending money elsewhere, we're helping each other out. So they'll add their pictures to their portfolio, the modeling photos, and then I will use their photos for me to create prints. So I went ahead and got my own printer, and so now I can print these myself. So here's one I just sold. This one's called Growing Pains, and it's basically just the contrast between, if you're growing, you're going to go through pain in life, because that's the only way to grow. It's more complicated, and I wanted to start up my own business that was very varied between me creating art, but also my accounting side, which I love business. I really do. I'm very excited about all of this cost analysis and coming up with a profit and loss and all of that stuff, because I loved cost accounting, because to me, which cost accounting is coming up with a price for a product and how much you can sell to make X, Y, Z, and all of the above. Money makes the world go around. So for me, that was the basis of everything. And it's so funny to go back around and be like, why did I do accounting? I don't even like it. But now
it's paid off in dividends, as they say.
Now I'm smarter than everybody I know. So
well, you are smart, because I think having that accounting background and some business background, that's really essential to being a successful artist. And you're figuring out ways to accomplish having a successful art career. You bought a printer so that you can make prints. And I think that's smart. The most successful artists seem to have something that they can offer at every price point. So there's something for everyone, You got your people that, they just want the original, they want a Krista Williams Artby13 original. And then you got somebody that, on a First Friday or whatever, they're willing to lay down 20, 40, $50 for a print or whatever, right?
Right. And even so, here's my deal. I've met so many artists just through like Bit Factory, through the Art Society, the Denver Art Society. Bit Factory for me has been a godsend. Bill Thomason, shout out to my buddy Bill. I met a guy there who wanted to rent the pop-up space we had because I had started working with Bill on trying to get the gallery going, kind of like a factory like Warhol. So I met this dude from Florida. His name's Philmy, and he tells me, hey, I got plenty of ways for you to make money. I know what you can do to market. So you go on Marketplace on Facebook and just post your prints. Next thing you know, people can buy your prints through Facebook for free and they get exposure. So I started posting stuff just like he taught me. And next thing you know, I've got this woman, Stacy Crawford, down in, she was in Littleton originally, but me and her linked up. She's an interior designer. She started carrying my art. And then next thing you know, I meet another Krista through social media, link those two. And then it's just a constant networking of other artists that are willing to share and give each other ideas. So there's tons of way to market for free. There's tons of ways to sell your art for free. And it's just all of us working together because we're all in this together, all of us, like especially artists right now, because apparently some poll says artists are like the least needed profession right now, which to me is the absolute opposite.
I totally agree with you. I think that was whoever made that statement was totally off the mark.
Oh, well, everything's a ruse, right? Not everything, but a lot of it is a ruse.
Yeah. Well, and we've talked about in the past that, art is so important to a culture. It's what defines a culture. It's
what moves society forward.
Yeah,
right.
For change.
I think we're going through a revolution right now. That's just my honest opinion. And I think that we're evolving, obviously, but we could take this pandemic and make it into a positive revolution, just like with the art, just like ancient Rome. So I think now more than ever, it is important for all of us to understand our roles within society. And honestly, I've talked to a lot of people, I've read a lot of things, and we're all understanding this. Like there's no one person that doesn't get it that's an artist. We all know that we're very important right now because people need hope right now. And that's what artists can give to people is hope, because it's awesome. You're driving down the street, you see brick and mortar, you see smog, all of a sudden, boom, a mural pops up. It wakes you up.
Yeah,
that's right. It changes something in your brain. You mentioned something I've thought about it, but not like verbalized it. You just verbalized it. When I drive downtown and I could be stuck in traffic or whatever and pissed off or whatever it may be. Maybe I'm just having a bad day. Maybe I'm having a good day, but I'll look over and I'll see a mural, like off of 6th Avenue or whatever. And I'll be like, oh, that's cool. I dig that. That's cool. Or they changed that space again. Somebody repainted that wall.
Yeah. Right.
And you're like, cool.
It wakes you up and suddenly you're not just in the traffic jam. Suddenly you're somewhere completely different.
It transports you. It transports your mindset. Yeah.
And you live in a great community for murals. I mean, Denver is, that whole metro area has just really embraced it, I think.
I've realized that I did a few face cutout things for people, which we never knew what they were called. We could not figure it out, but they're these little, the little wooden props that have like the cartoons on them, and you put your face through it and suddenly you're a bear. So I did a couple of those, but I've realized that for me, I'm not so much into the large scale. It's hard for me to see the big picture. I'm much better at smaller scale. So I've kind of realized that I want to let myself appreciate the muralist. I can't accomplish a mural in the way that some of these other artists can. And I give them props big time because I don't know how they do it. It was so hard for me to do those. So yeah, it's insane.
I saw one that you have it on your website, and I think it's really well done.
Which one?
I think you did it for Colorado Mountain Club, right?
There was one for the American Mountaineering Museum.
Oh, American Mountaineering Museum. Okay, excuse me.
Yeah,
that one was really cool.
Oh, that was Peter Max inspired, 100%.
Yeah, I thought that one was really well done, really sweet.
Thank you. You know what I did? And this is something that I love to do, is make everything very personalized. So I went through all of these catalogs of mountaineering people from back in like the 20s, and the librarian there told me what she wanted, and then another employee told me what they were thinking. And so we came up with a concept of using actual photos from the archives. So we went in and I pulled all these photos out, and I picked out specific people from different photographs, and then did sketches of each single person on a piece of paper, fitted them all in together. And then I had come across one of the face cutouts in Crested Butte, and they had a little dog one. And so I put Wednesday's face through it, and her little teeny face was hilarious in this dog cutout. So I thought, well, crap, I might as well add a dog in there too. So I basically compiled all of this into one sketch, and then projected it with my projector onto the wood, and then sketched that out, and then painted it. And that was my first big mural. But I was so happy with that, because I had put my heart into it. And I remember being like, at times, God, my back hurts. I've been working 40 hours a week at a desk, and here I am bent over again, just like, and I have a torn rotator cuff on top of it. So I'm just like, man. And then I'm like, it's for the kids. It's for the kids. Just keep going. So anyways, yeah, that was pretty trying.
It's a sweet piece.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is really a Peter Max inspired piece. That's for sure. Yeah.
I love Peter Max.
Yeah.
And
very colorful. Very colorful.
Yeah.
So talk about some other artists that you're inspired by.
Okay. I gotta interrupt real quick.
Okay.
So my question at the bottom of my page, what artist inspires you?
Oh, sorry. Did I?
No, that's good. No, I'm just saying we're back on that mind meld where the ideas are the same. So answer that. What other artist inspires you, Chris?
Oh my God. Do you want to talk visual? You want to talk comedians?
Yes, we want to like
what inspires you? Because I think sometimes people think it's other artists per se, but it might not be that. It might be they're artists, but they work in a different medium. So you said comedians,
philosophers.
Tesla.
This is a scientist.
Yeah, that's Tesla.
Yep. He was an artist of science. Here's what else? I got all my stuff sitting around somewhere. So, I mean, obviously growing up as a kid, Care Bears, this is my piece here.
So talk about that real quick, and then we'll go back. Who inspires you?
Right.
So it's a green Care Bear, and then it's got a red fist on its shirt, I guess. So talk about that, or its belly.
His burler. Yeah. So this piece I did it about 6 years ago, and my mind says, oh, I love Dave Chappelle. There's another guy for you that is an inspiration. He talks about the Care Bears and the Care Bear stare, how, they would just shoot powers out of their bellies at people. And so my idea was, okay, how do I twist this revolt? Because I'm such a, misfit, and I'm such a rebellious, I've got this streak in me. So how can I rebel? What's the highest form of rebellion? Is self-love. So that was what I came up with for this piece here. And as you can see, the two eyes are closed, but the third eye is open, which, that gets a little bit open your third eye, but it's a thing. Your third eye is very symbolic of, realize that we are one. So if you really want to rebel, you're rebelling by loving yourself. And then also that was inspired by a Kendrick Lamar song, I Love Myself. So there's so many things intertwined in my art. As far as artists go that inspire me, it changes over time. It started with Warhol, then we go to Basquiat, and then we pop into surrealism with Dali, and then Magritte, and then Duchamp, and then next thing you know, I'm into Kandinsky. I've got my Hieronymus Bosch back here, the triptych. God, my own grandmother was an artist at some point. Her piece is sitting next to me. My uncle was an artist. My grandfather was a writer. My grandmother was a singer. I mean, I could go on and on all day if you want.
So there's very much an artistic thread that runs through your family DNA. So
right.
It totally makes sense. You seem like you're really well read as well. Are you a reader?
I actually, for a while, I was reading a lot, and then I started doing the documentary thing. But now I need to get back into the reading because I need to slow down a little bit.
I love it. There's a lot of contrast, a lot of dichotomy in your paintings and your art. And you can see that you're experimenting with your own different styles, which I think is phenomenal, because a lot of times you go and you look at an artist's work and it very much has that feel throughout.
Right.
But I look at your portfolio online and it looks like a collage of, 50 different artists.
I know.
Because and I think that's a good thing. I think we had this conversation earlier in the week where I love that it's eclectic and you do what inspires you at that moment.
Right.
Do you have multiple pieces going on at the same time, or do you just focus in on like one thing, one idea that you have?
Well, so if it's a commission, I try to stick with that. But personally, no, I have a million things going on at one time. Like right now, there's a multitude of things I have going on because not only do I have new ones I want to do, I've got like pieces of old newspaper laying around. My dad made me 30 wooden canvases. So if anyone out there needs a wood canvas, hit me up. But I've got those sitting around. I've got, this one, I already did this one. I just repainted it white. I don't know why. But it's like a constant, I get bored, not bored, but my brain can't stick to one thing at a time. I'm constantly bing bong. So yes, it's a yes and a no. I do have stuff going on all the time.
And you incorporate like social commentary. Obviously, you just pull that stuff from your everyday experience, or is it stuff that you see on the news, or how do you go about that?
I think it's the collective consciousness, honestly. Like, I think that artists are able to tap into that and then project it. And they may not even know what they're doing at that time. But because, I mean, I really like Joseph Campbell. He studied mythology, right? Him and George Lucas got together, came up with Star Wars, one of the best all times, right? Because Carl Jung, idea of the collective consciousness, then you mix in the mythology. Next thing you know, you tapped into it. That's what's up. It's all collective consciousness. So if you can tap into that, you're going to reach every single person. So my sister, Kyla, she says, I have my intellectual pieces and then I have my free flow pieces. So the intellectual pieces would be like something like this that's well thought out, but I don't really think I'm thinking well thought out. It's just, in the end, it's a statement. But then I've also got my abstract pieces that are just free flow, where I start to see images that I didn't see prior. Like this one here. This one was a print that I made that I custom framed, and I get all of my frames and stuff from like estate sales and thrift stores because it's cost effective. And also it's a unique element that I would never have thought of either, that makes this completely unique. So these are like the free flow pieces because there's pirate stuff in here, yet I mean, I didn't go for that. It just happened. But I also went to a high school with a mascot as a pirate. My dog had one eye. He was called the pirate dog. Like, I never planned on any of that. It just happened. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
No,
it does.
I always want to ask that kind of question to artists because I'm always curious. I'm just curious how different people's brains work, you know?
Right.
So I think it's
Me too.
I just think it's intriguing, you know? You are very smart because you are the first artist that we've talked to that has utilized Facebook Marketplace as a platform to sell their art. And
I'm not smart. Someone else gave me that idea.
You were the first one that we've talked to. I mean, there's other artists out there, obviously, but that are utilizing it. But you're the first one that we've talked to, at least in the Denver area, that you know utilize that as a platform to sell prints. And I think that's awesome. That's really, really smart. What other things do you do to promote your stuff?
I just started this, so it's all trial and error. And so I'm basically right now, I'm working with some people and getting ideas and just floating them around, testing them out, like putting up the dance videos that are goofy on Instagram and on Facebook. And, you know, I even tried the Bumble and the Tinder, use those to like get traction just for my IG and my Facebook, which has built up followers. But with that comes along, you know, the obvious. So what do you want to do? What's worth your time? I don't know. You got to just figure it out as you go, at least for me, because I don't have a blueprint. I don't know what I want to do. I'd love to do it all. So I guess I just pick everyone's brains. So like the marketplace, that came from a person, an artist I met. He also said, join groups. And then he also said, hey, I do this like goofy drawing art where I draw like really quick sketches of things that people send me their photographs of, and they're goofy as hell. So like I knew stoners would love them. So what do? I join Denver groups and I start posting in these Denver groups on Facebook. Next thing you know, he's selling stuff in Denver. He looks up most boring towns in America. Boom, he starts posting on those town groups. Like that, you just pick people's brains and then you come up with ways. Guerrilla marketing, I don't know about flyers. Is that dead? I don't know. I kind of think so. But, you know, there's just so many ways. And especially with this pandemic, every day is so different. Every day my life is different now. It's just like, do you want to be, what tree do you want to be? Do you want to be, you want to be a bamboo tree because you want to be able to flex in the wind. You don't want to break. So you're just constantly open to that flow of what do I do today that's going to, you know, keep me surviving and thriving. So every day I'm learning, and it may be good or it may be bad. Is there right or is there wrong? I don't know. It's just, those are the ways I've done it. And then also I started at coffee shops. In Steamboat, I did Azteca, which was a burrito, Mexican food restaurant. Next thing you know, I'm like, I need a network. So you got to meet people. No one is an island. So I went to the Denver Art Society, started there. Through there, I met Bill. I went to go see a Ron Campbell exhibit. He did a lot of the artwork for the Yellow Submarine. He did a lot of the artwork for development of like All Real Monsters, the Jetsons. Never thought I'd be in the same gallery as that dude. And next thing you know, Bill gives me an unknown kid off the streets a chance. So I'm like, dude. So I go up to Bit Factory. I'm meeting all kinds of people, but I'm so shy and introverted from being an accountant, shoved in a closet all day. I have to get myself out there and be like, okay, you got to go talk to people, Krista, and then make this happen, because you can't not do that. Oh, well, I just saw a huge flash of lightning. That was awesome.
I saw it flash on you.
Right. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, reflected right off you.
That was awesome. See how
it looked like a strobe going off.
Dude, that's dope. Anyways, yeah, so just networking, hustle. That's all I can do is hustle, because I didn't go to school for art. So for me, it's just, I didn't go to school for marketing. I'd rather learn myself, I guess. And I always have to learn the hard way.
School of hard knocks.
Yeah, for real. We won't even go there, but let's just say I have a lot of injuries, and so does my dog. So we take after each other.
So when you decided to get into making your own prints, you thought, I'm just going to buy my own printer, and that way I have control over the whole process. Was that the thought behind that? And then you're not paying somebody else?
Well, I actually had a friend who was a photographer, a nightclub photographer, and we decided, we can make your own prints. Because I started doing festivals with Bill from Bit Factory, and so I'm like, yo, I gotta have prints because people can afford prints and they'll be able to carry those around. So we came up, me and the friend came up with the idea. He had the printer. He did the photography to photograph my paintings and then print them cheaply at home, because I had done Vistaprint with my cards, which turned out really great, but I want to see my stuff. I want to have control over what I'm producing, and it's cheaper, and also it's personal. It's a small business. So it's cost effective. I feel more in control, which makes me feel more valuable in the end. So then, he moved off, and I'm like, you know what? I need to start in-housing everything, and that's my business accounting mind. So it's an investment. I'm not bringing in income right now, obviously, because I'm not working full time. So I invested in this printer, and I got the paper. It's all tricks and trades. It's all asking other artists, getting advice from other people. And then at the end of the day, you have to put in the work if you want to make it happen, or you can hand it off to somebody else to help you with. But it's all a balance between your time and your money, because money's time, right? Even though time doesn't exist. But that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, I just came up with the idea through other people. It was not originally my idea, but it is now, and I'll share that with other people too. So I want to help other artists in the area, anyone. And I just had a girl come over today that wants to do watercolor prints on cards. So we're going to test out the printer with watercolor paper, see how that turns out, because there are ways to either scan in your paintings or take photographs of your paintings and get those printed through a personal printer. That's nice. And there's ways to cut costs.
So let's talk about original art that you sell.
Right.
Where does your stuff start, and what does it go to price wise?
Oof, original art. I mean, it kind of depends on the size, what it is, if it's on paper, if it's on newspaper. I mean, this newspaper stuff's awesome because I recycled something from 1971, something that I was not around for that. But yet my parents were around for that. And it's just crazy to know that I can take something that would have get tossed aside and totally recreate it into now, save it. And I'm recycling. I'm using the whole green idea. So something like a original piece on a newspaper would be, I think I have those priced like $50. But then again, those were done several years ago. So as I go along, my skills grow, but then my price has to grow because I'm putting in more time. And I'm actually, when you pay for something an artist does, you're not paying for that piece. You're paying for the years of experience they've put in. It's not only the supplies, it's not their time, it's the years and the years of practice they put in to get there. And I've seen so many artists say this, but yet I don't know, how, and I'm still learning. So I would say anywhere from 50 up to, at this point, about $3,000 for a big piece. But we'll see as time goes on. Obviously my prices are going to get higher. Like, that's just the way the world works. Not only that, I think it's fair. And
absolutely.
It's an investment. Like I've got a piece right now sitting with an attorney who is running for Senate, and I won't say where, I won't say who, but if he wins the election, guess what? My piece is worth more money now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Money. And what was it? Rothko, 10th most expensive piece of all time in some documentary I watched. You know why? Because it was owned by the Rockefellers. The history behind the piece too. So I don't know. There's a lot that I'm learning.
Bravo. That was well said. Talking about what you're buying is not just the piece. You're talking about that life experience that artist has put into all these, their artwork. So I think that's the first time, even though we've kind of talked about it, that's the first time anybody's ever verbalized it on our podcast. So well said. And the moral of the story is that you might want to check out Krista's website because like she said, the price is only going to go up. So if you want to get on the ground level before it's at Sotheby's or some other auction house, now would be the time to do it, right?
Oh yeah, now's the time. And I got to update my website before this comes out.
Your website actually looks really good. Like I like the fact that I think it's well laid out and it's straightforward and I don't get lost in it. So in that manner, I think it works really well. Do you have a place to and I don't know if I saw that or not. Do you have a place where you can actually buy right off your site, or is it more?
Don't.
Okay. Is that something that you've considered?
That's something I'm setting up this week.
After talking to us. I'm just kidding.
That's
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really had I've just been word of mouth up until now. And so I'm like, you know what? If you really want to sell your art, Krista, you should probably have a store. Instead of just your friends and friends of friends, knowing who you are from random Instagram. Because a lot of people aren't going to want to direct message an artist because they're like, they don't know me. And then maybe a little bit nerve-wracking to talk to someone that they don't know. So I got to get a web store set up because, it's just got to happen. I've just been prioritizing my life right now. And, it's this podcast comes, but I know it's going to air. So at a different time. So I know I have a time window to set up the shop before y'all air this.
The clock is ticking right now.
Always.
So we've talked to other artists that have sold pieces via social media, obviously using Facebook Marketplace. Mm-hmm. Do you, and I see you posting, different pieces on Facebook. Are you using Instagram as well to like post stuff out there?
Yeah, Instagram, but I don't really sell through Instagram. I just have my website, and again, it's very nebulous, so it's kind of all over the place, and it's hard for people to get a piece from me easily because I haven't been invested in that yet. This is all new. So I had stuff at Meade Street Market down on 44th and Meade in the Highlands. I got a lot of traction through there. So I've had my stuff, in some really cool restaurants, and my stuff is so different in person than what you see online. It's because you don't see that texture, because I love using texture. And I think I told you that at one point that we're going digital. It's all going digital. Well, for me, in my mind, how do I want to save handmade things for me and create them different? So my idea is to use texture, because you can't recreate that digitally. So you can't see that online. So I know now that I'm going to have to start using film and video to get people to see, hey, I've got texture on here, because I've got this piece over here, this Fear and Loathing piece that I did, Hunter S. Thompson inspired. You can see it right. Wait, let me move is my hand going the right way?
There
right
you go.
Oh, yep, there it is. Yep.
Yeah, and I showed Todd there's different texture for the road. It looks like asphalt. There's different texture for the sky. There's different texture for the cactus, for the car. I mean, you can't touch those things on digital, but you can touch it on a piece that's handmade. And so I want to find a way to retain that, because there's an energy that's transferred when a person touches something physically. It's an energy that's transferred.
I agree.
Yeah.
You can't recreate that through digital, but I'm not downing digital. I'm not saying that's not a thing. I'm just saying, for me personally, I use the painting. I love just rubbing my hands in that. I love just like, I'll get mad or something. I'll take out my anger one day and just down the canvas. I'll take crayon and just, or I'll just be like, boop, and like, doot. That felt right to me at that time. So for me, it's like, you're actually seeing my life story on this canvas right now. You're seeing my whole life story here.
You're buying a piece of you.
Yeah, you're buying my self-portrait. Like my grandpa said, oh, Krista, that little blonde-haired girl you painted looks like you. Is that a self-portrait? I say, Grandpa, all my paintings are self-portraits.
Right.
All of them.
I think an interesting point, sorry, Todd. I think an interesting point when you were talking about, like recreating something digitally, it's very similar to like looking at a Warhol online or in a magazine or a catalog, and then you see a Warhol in person in like the Chicago Art Museum, and it's a whole different feel when you see it live and in person.
It is. And I noticed that I was walking around the Met and there was a piece that stuck out to me the most at the end, and it was the one that had all the textures to it. And I don't know who it was. It was a random name, not even anyone famous that I knew of, because I'm, self-taught, self-learned. So I'm still learning, obviously. But one thing I want to touch on with Warhol that translates into my art, his whole concept, and me and a girl today spoke about this at length. His whole concept that people did not understand was the fact that he was stating with those soup cans, we are equals. We are all the same. There's a flavor for everybody. So people didn't get that. And he got that idea off of a friend. It wasn't his original idea. And that's okay.
Yeah.
You can do that. So for me, I feel like the overall picture of my art, as I've been preparing for this podcast, preparing for this, for New Magazine, which I'll be a columnist on, I've thought a lot about my art and what it really means to me. And for me, it's equality. So I think really overall, without being conscious of it, I've created this body of work that I hope can touch every single person, because everyone I've talked to has a different favorite. So that's my whole concept behind my project, which I don't like to tie my name, Krista Lea, to my actual artwork. That's why I stuck with the Friday the 13th, my birthday, the F13, because it allows me to kind of disassociate and allow it to just come through. And it's something for everybody. I don't want myself to be seen through the art, but on contrary, like I said, it's a self-portrait at the same time. So It's a very lengthy topic, but a lot of stuff there.
Your art is phenomenal. I mean, I will say this right now. It actually is pretty mind-blowing. I don't know how we were discussing it before you came on, Wes and I, and
I still don't believe you.
No, seriously, like I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, it is spectacular. Like people that are listening now need to check out Krista's website, because like she said, there's something for everybody there, but it is pretty doggone amazing. And I know that Bill sees that in you too. He talked about your evolution as an artist, and I think you're going places. So just keep at it, keep plugging along, because.
And for those who's listening that's sitting by a computer, it's artby13.com.
Mm-hmm.
So ARTBY the number 13.com. So check it out while you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah, you'll see
It's
what
awesome.
we're talking about. Thank you for mentioning that, Wes. That's
And my IG, it's ART.BY. Whatever you want to call it, 13. And then my personal account is on there, so you can link to my personal. But like I said, I'm trying to keep everything separate. But eventually, I never mind. I'm not going to go into all this. I'm crazy. I'm crazy.
You're not crazy. You're just an artist.
Yeah. We're all crazy.
We are. That's it. That's a fact. We're all crazy in our own ways.
Right? What is saying? I don't want to be boring.
You're not boring.
Who wants to be boring?
You.
Yeah, you're definitely not boring.
No.
Yeah, I'm digging you.
Thanks. Small doses.
So I guess what I like about your stuff is it's not one thing. It's a variety of things. You can feel different emotions and different, ideas, and the styles are, change, and it gives it a totally different flavor. And I like the variety of it. Like you said, there's something for everybody, and each one piece can touch somebody in multiple ways. Mm-hmm. So I'm really digging your stuff. It's beautiful, really colorful, a lot of light, a lot of, and then some pieces that are a little bit on the dark side. And I like that too.
I'm about to dig into some more earthy tones. I like to wear black a lot, personally, like clothing choice, but then I also like to wear really bright colors. So now I want to get into the same thing with my art. I never really wear earthy tones, and I think it's because of my pale skin. It just looks a little weird. For me, I'm covered in freckles, but I want to start using earthy tones in my art and just play around and see what's up. I've got so much stuff sitting here I haven't even touched yet. It kind of gives me anxiety of all the things I'm like, all these ideas, and then I just crash of all the ideas I have. And that's the bipolar in me. I just got to find a balance. But I want to get into that too, the earthy tones.
It's all about balance, right?
It is. The law of the universe here is balance, one of them.
I saw a post and I love the painting that you did, but you had said in this post, and it was from a while back, but you said that you had started doing a bit of a dream interpretation.
Right.
What happens in that instance? You wake up from a dream and you go to your canvas or whatever you're painting on at that time and just kind of go with it, like what you were experiencing in that dream. How does that work?
I mean, I'm really into psychology, and Carl Jung talks about how your psychology comes out in your dreams in a way that you don't see in the daytime. So it's almost like you're driving a vehicle and you've got your lights, and then you've got your floodlights. So your floodlights aren't on during the day, but then when you go to bed at night, your floodlights are on. So all of a sudden you got all this crazy stuff going on, and nothing there in that dream world is tangible. A chair is not a chair because the brain associates words with things because it needs stability. It needs consistency. I have a lot of brain injuries that I've got a lot of traumatic brain injuries in my history. So I've gone through a lot of stuff that's gotten me to this point of a strange understanding of these concepts that may be hard to relay, especially in such a short amount of time. But I realize, and I've read that the best way to remember your dreams is literally within that second you wake up. You pull it right then. You have to like really be intentional about what was that dream just about, and then you can remember every detail. But it's literally within that moment of sleep and wake that you can remember that image or that story. So I just, there's times where I'll remember it and I will be able to just jot it down. I'll write it or I'll sketch it, or I just let it go because I don't need it. Or I've had huge decisions I've had to make in my life that I could not come up with my conscious mind. So I would set an intention before I go to bed. Hey, dream, tell me tonight, what should I do? So I have the dream. I remember when I wake up, all right, remember it. And then I sit there and I sit with it and I'm like, what did that dream really tell me? And so then I can make actual life decisions based off a dream. To me, they're very important. But I'm also into psychology. Like I said, my great aunt, who was basically my grandmother, was a psychiatrist. And we have all kinds of mental health issues throughout my entire family. So for me, it's been very important to understand psychology. And I really think, it's just like the ocean. It's here on Earth, but yet we know nothing about it. Same with the brain.
Yeah, it's way complex.
Yeah.
But it's amazing some of the things they're learning now about the brain, even just the whole plasticity of the brain. 30 years ago, they thought, your brain matured and then it slowly died off. Well, now they know that these moments in your life where it rewires itself. And so it's just, the whole brain science is really fascinating.
I know, it's crazy. I really, really wish that we had more of an emphasis on neurology, because it is so important to the underlyings of every occurrence in this, what all is going on in our society. I mean, here's for instance, if I have an issue and I'm feeling, I have a mental illness, I'm bipolar. So if I feel that I'm suddenly in need of a therapist right away, I can't get to one. If I need a psychiatrist, there's like a 4-month wait. I've got to sit there. I got to go through a therapist to get to a psychiatrist. So you have to get vetted to even go to a psychiatrist to get on medication. And people here, I would say in Colorado, there's a bit of tendency to be all holistic, yet I'm going to just say in my personal experience, I have needed pharmaceutical medication and it has helped me. So for me personally, in my journey of life, have felt that is something that it has been misunderstood in a lot of ways. So I think that there's something to that. And I think that's where we need to go in our society, is start focusing on mental health and stop stigmatizing it, because it creates so many issues, because people are in denial and then they repress. And then next thing you know, they're raging out for no reason. And they're judging people. If I were to say to an employer, like I told Todd, I'm bold enough now to come out and out myself, because I don't really want to go back to a 9-to-5, and I'm not going to regret this. And it's just like someone coming out and saying, I'm an alcoholic and I'm going to tell everyone. Jamie Lynn Curtis, she came out and said, you guys, I'm addicted to Vicodin. And that she outs herself by holding herself accountable, because other people now know. So for me, it's me saying, hey, you guys, I have this issue, and I'm sorry, Karen, but it's not everyone goes through that. Well, if you're peeing 60 times a day, Karen, that's not probably just an everybody thing. So you got to make fun of yourself a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's a serious thing. But yeah. I even told Todd, Maria Bamford, this comedian, she had a show on Netflix that she basically spilled her whole life story dealing with bipolar. And it was hilarious the way that she put it, but it put me to tears, because I'm like, finally, somebody I can relate to, and it's in a comedic way, and it's not in a stigmatizing way of like, oh, she's manic depressive, don't go near her. It was just a godsend to me as well, just to see somebody make light of it, but also be serious. So that kind of is like my art, I think, in a way too. It all ties in. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because we haven't even touched about mental health and artistic ability. How do you think your bipolar manic depression state affects your artwork? Does it lay a piece? I mean, is it a part of it, or okay?
Yeah, because there will be times where I'll go in and I'll manically just paint. And then other times I can't get off the couch.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there like, okay, what do I feel like right now? And so sometimes these crazy things just pour out of me. And it's like, I'm just like, I can't stop all this and information. I feel like I like tap into something that is not me. It's something bigger, and it just pours out of me. And all of a sudden I just crash. So do I want to use that to my advantage, knowing that I will crash after that? Or do I want to find that balance? So that's why I think I have the free flow art, and then I've got the intellectual art where I've actually put thought into. So I think it really does. It's all there. It's all tied into me and the art. So 100%, yes.
One of my best friends, he was bipolar, and he was a writer, and wonderful stories. But his medication would change. Like, he would be on a certain medication, and then his body would like get immune to it or whatever. And they would be chasing medications. And then he was on a medication for a while that he hated taking because it numbed him, and he felt his creativity, like he had no creativity anymore. It was just, he felt numb. And so chasing, pharmaceuticals to treat your illness can be probably debilitating in some instances. Have you experienced that?
Oh my God. I can't tell you. The reason I saved up money, because I knew my condition and I had come to terms with that. And I knew if I lost my job, I had to have savings, because I would stay up for 3 days on end, and I could barely function. Who knows? I could freak out and scream at someone at work on a whim because I had been up for 3 days. And for me, bipolar has been essentially a sleep disorder. And when you come down to it, that's been my biggest issue. So I tried a medication that did make me very gray, and I took on a very high level position at another organization, and then it helped me to get through that. But also at the same time, I'd come home and I wouldn't be feeling the creativity or I just felt kind of like very sensible, which I'm kind of not. But for that job, it was great. But I also gained 30 pounds on it. And then I'm depressed because I'm like, I feel ugly. I feel like I don't feel good in my body. So it's like a constant balance of like, okay, so now I get off of that medication, and then I have to transition to another one. But yet I'm having to maintain a job, a 9 to 5 at the same time. And it's just ridiculous. I don't honestly know how I'm here right now, to be honest. Yeah. And to know other people's plights is so helpful. And it's so encouraging to know that there's others who have gone through the same thing that have made it and been successful. So yes, that's something I've definitely dealt with.
So your art has really been helpful in a sort of therapy, correct? Being able to channel that energy and have something to do, and then have this creative outlet that you definitely need.
Oh, I need it. It's an addiction at this point. Yeah.
And that's what people don't understand, and I think you talked about mental health, having a mental health issue is stigmatized all the time. It's always so much more complex than what people realize, There's so much more to it. It's not like this, and that's to be said in our society in general, especially right now. But everybody wants this nice little, thing that fits in this little box, just cut and dry, black and white, that you can just wrap your head around. But it's always much more of a complex issue than what people want to stop and think about. And that's where the conversation comes in, right? The conversation that you have with your art, and the conversation that you've been having with, just be able to tell people, hey, this is what I go through, and this is what I have to deal with, and this is who I am. And going back to the Care Bear portrait behind you about the self-love thing, learning to love yourself, right?
Right. And also boundaries, because sometimes you have to know who you can and can't talk to, because some people will immediately try to put you down and say, hey, I have those symptoms too. And you're like, I've spent years journaling, and I've spent years researching. I've spent years in denial. I've researched my family history. I put time into this before really accepting it. So for me, this is my Keith Haring piece. You like that? Product placement?
Yeah.
He's running. There he
It's
goes.
awesome. Yeah.
Oh.
I totally see Keith in it too.
Yeah, there's the boundary of who you can and can't talk to, because some people will shut you down and it hurts.
Yeah.
So,
and
I knew I could tell y'all.
I know when they'll say I have the same symptoms, but the thing is, it's not the same. You may run into somebody else who's bipolar, but it's not the same. It's very individualized.
Right.
And I can totally see where that can be dejecting. And maybe they're probably not feeling like they're not acting facetious, but it's just like, you just don't understand what I'm going through. And nor maybe should they be able to understand.
That for me is the thing, is like, we all need to understand that we're all trying to understand each other at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts on it. Really, the whole picture is we all are trying to understand each other. And it's hard. It's so hard. It really is. Because you have your own emotions in your own day that you're going through, and your past and your future. But at the same time, we're all just as messed up as each other. Yeah. So to me, it's all about just being open and accepting. And, if I say I'm bipolar, like, let me say it. You can offer your input, but don't preach. And that's something I've had to learn, because I used to preach, and I'm trying not to do that right now.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's a tightrope.
Yeah. I love you for sharing this. This has been an incredible conversation about this segment, because we've never went down this road, and I think it's important to have this conversation. So I love you for sharing it. So thank you.
Yeah, that was bold. That's brave. And we appreciate your willingness. And hopefully, that there's other people out there that are probably listening to this podcast that, can relate in some way and go, wow, there's somebody else that has these things that they're dealing with. And people need that connection to know that they're not alone in the world,
That's exactly why I knew I had to do this.
You texted me today and you said, my life is always changing. So talk to me about some of the changes that are going on. You're embracing this pandemic and the situation that all humankind are in right at this moment, and turning it, or trying to turn it into a positive and not dwelling on the negative. Talk to me about some of the things that are going on that are positive and that are changing, that you're excited about.
So the positive for me is, now I feel like sometimes, like they say, you have to hit rock bottom to come back out. Well, I feel like maybe that's what's happening with society right now, in my hopes. And for me as well, I've realized that I've kind of had to get out of the safety of having a 9-to-5 and having an accounting job, which is one of the most stable jobs you can have, which is why I had it, because it was safety, it was comfort. But now I've been kicked out of that position, and I'm in a spot of chaos, which to me, I wasn't ready for 6 years ago. And I was in a similar situation in a personal sense. But for me, I feel like this is a time to reinvent myself, recreate myself, but also I'm now starting to embrace the risk of rolling the dice, because I'm not a risk taker. I'm not a gambler. But yet at the end of the day, I look back on my skiing and all my sports and all the things I've done. And I'm like, but you kind of are though. Like you've risked yourself in a lot of ways where you could have died in a, multitude of ways that most people wouldn't do to themselves, but yet I had. So now I'm starting to understand, like, okay, Krista, you may have to dip into your savings, but it's an investment, and I'm now going to have to be an investor and recreate the way that I am functioning in life as far as my mindset, the way that I've been evolving and being active in my own evolvement. And so this right now that's happening on a global scale to me is evolution. So it goes down to a cellular level. It goes down to atoms. I mean, it's all of this is tied in together, as above, so below. So for me right now, I feel like I've come across some people I never would have met through social media, because they never would have been on social media, because now they have to be, and they're confined to that. So I've connected with people otherwise I never would have met through social media. So all of a sudden, here I am connecting with people, and all these new opportunities are arising. I'm very shy with crowds. So in the pandemic, I'm able to do stuff on video, like dancing to stupid videos and music that I would never be able to do in public. And now I feel forced to do it, but it's a good thing because I'm breaking out of my shell. I'm coming out. I want the world to know. And that's I'm trying to find the silver lining in all of this. And it's a great time to slow down, because the rat race keeps you so busy that you don't have that time to self-reflect and understand, oh, maybe this is what's really going on. You don't have that time. So when you have that time by yourself to sit there and reflect, suddenly you stumble upon things that you never saw before. So for me, this whole thing, I think, is like a reset button. I hope. And I know a lot of people are worked up right now. They're angry. They're you can't breathe in the mask, but surgeons wear them all the time. I have a friend that wore his as a essential worker every single day, and also had MS. So there's that fear of, I have a weakened immune system, but yet I'm an essential worker and I have to wear this mask all day. And then you've got the whole other side of, hey, this is my freedom and you're taking away my freedoms to walk down the street. Well, guess what? I'm having to wake up too and check the news every day and be like, wait, has the laws changed today? Can I go outside and walk without my mask? Do I have to bring it with me when I walk my dog? Like, can I leave my home? Like every day I got to check that. It's just a tough time right now. But at the end of the day, I really hope people understand that we're all having to do the same crap and have empathy for each other and stop. I mean, the most rebellious thing you can do right now is to wear your mask, because you get to be anonymous. Hey, look, who are you talking to right now? You don't know. I can be saying,
right.
and you'll never know.
It's
right.
true. It's
right.
true.
Nice.
Right.
It's kind of nice.
It is kind of nice. And I'm somebody that actually, I very much wear my emotions on my face.
Me too. No poker face here.
And so the mask is kind of good, though. I hate the fact that when I'm talking with somebody and they make, they say something funny.
Yes.
Or they can't see me smiling. I'm hoping that my eyes still radiate that, because when you smile, your eyes will show it. So it's interesting to be in this place that we are now and trying to read body language and facial expressions with a covering.
Right. It's to me, it's an interesting way to learn differently. So it's like, now I start paying attention to the eyes and start noting, the way people's body language behaves. Because before I was so worried about myself and how I looked. And now I'm focused on you, because I have to be, because this is how we're communicating now. So it's all about communication, and it's just such a great opportunity to look at life from a different perspective, as always learning, everyday learning. So that I'm writing an article for New Magazine, and there's a new magazine that comes out. It's national. And then there's a new Denver that comes out. That's obviously Denver. So I'm going to be in the next issue of New Magazine, which drops in September, first week of September. The website is newmagazine.com, N-U-E.
So it's New Magazine, but it's N-U-E magazine.com?
Yeah, newmagazine.com. And I'll be on the national magazine as an artist in the section as an artist. So I'll have my artwork in there. I'll be going by Artby13. You won't see my photo. But then in the local Denver issue, I'll be a regular columnist as of now, indefinitely. And my first article is going to be about the mask. And it's going to be exactly what we just talked about. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Like, what are you saying? I just dropped my debit card and lost it the other day at the store because I forgot, my mask, I'm on the phone, all the things, and I freaking leave my debit card.
I don't know how both of you feel, but I feel that there's times where I feel actually disoriented in this time, because I'm like leaving the house, and like you said, like, do I have my mask? I have my mask. I walk out to the car, do I have hand sanitizer in case I need to, sanitize my hands, or, all these accoutrements that we now have, that's part of our whole being, our lifestyle now. If you would have told me back in January, hey, when you walk into the grocery store 4 months from now, everybody's going to be wearing a mask, I would have been like, you're out of your mind. Like,
except in South Dakota, nobody wears masks. Nobody wears masks. And I have not missed a single day of work. I've worked other than my vacation down to Arizona. But I was traveled to Arizona, and we went 2 days in Colorado, 3 days in Arizona, 2 days in Utah. Everywhere we went, everybody had masks. Come back here, Days of 76 rodeo, big rodeo, picture of the governor hugging people, no masks, the stands are packed. Sturgis rallies coming, people from all over the country are coming, no masks. Central States Fair, I can't wait. Wes has his mask. It may not look like a mask sometimes, but it's a mask.
And if you want to go deeper, we all wear a mask, don't we?
We do. And sometimes we wear multiple masks. I wear a mask at work. I wear a mask on my podcast, and I wear a mask around my wife.
Right?
But that's a different story.
I know, it's so intense, but
so I got three things I want to talk about, speaking about wearing masks, right? And the COVID, right? So we do run into a few people that wear masks. So it's interesting that when you're talking to somebody, or when I'm talking to somebody that wears a mask, I didn't realize how much I read people's lips. And so I'm always going, what'd you say?
I know.
And then I had a client come by and pick out some clothing. I do ad specialties, but anyway, we were doing some embroidery stuff, and I cracked a joke, and she laughed and she smiled, and her eyes sparkled, and like my heart just warmed because her eyes smiled so brightly. It was really a cool feeling. And then my last point about the COVID, and I didn't think about this until. And part of it is because, like I said, I haven't missed a day of work, but you guys have all been quarantined. And when you start talking about, self-reflection, it's really a monastic life that you've taken on by force. And this is the opportunity to be monk-like and search within yourself, right?
Right. Which for me, I just said to people, my life hasn't really changed that much. I'm a kind of a recluse, and I don't really like going that many places. And I paint, so like my life hasn't really been that altered. So I feel that for me, I've been trying to have more empathy for people that are extroverts, because they do get energy out of their interactions with others, whereas I get energy out of not. So I think too, what you're saying about reading lips, like, doesn't that make you think about deaf people?
Right.
Who have to read lips?
Yeah. I don't know how they function. In fact, I thought about that the other day, because I don't know how they function now, because if you rely heavily on reading lips, you're really in a hurt locker, because people are talking and you're not getting any. And I literally, I have tinnitus, so I'm always have a ringing in my ears. So I watch people's lips, and I pick up, I'm probably not it's not like I read lips like 90% of, the conversation, but, I do pick up words that now I have to ask what they said. So, but
yeah, it gives
it's
you
interesting.
a chance. Yeah. It just gives you a chance to be in someone else's shoes.
Yeah.
So,
and like you said, be empathetic, which is what we really need in this time where there's so much turmoil. So
we're all in this. I mean, it's no joke. Like I said, my dog, she got messed up last night. We were playing fetch, and she pretty much got impaled by a freaking stick. I rushed her to the vet. Guess what? Everyone's there in the same way to help. Like, here, let's get, and I'm in a panic. I mean, it's my baby. Yeah. So they take her in. I know the vets take her in. All they want is to help. And I'm sitting outside listening to an older couple, and they're talking on their phones, and they're laughing because one of them says, I can hear the person on the speaker. And this is the thing. People don't observe a lot. They're constantly worried about what they look like. And that's totally normal. But when you listen, you hear the same thing coming from everyone. This lady's on the phone. I hear her talking. She says, you say you're a Republican, but you sound a lot like a Democrat. And the two older, they're laughing. The two older people in the car next to me are just laughing. And I'm like, that's what it is, laughter. It unites everybody.
I must have been on the phone, because I'm a Republican, but I sound like a Democrat.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Just like overhear people, and you're like, huh, interesting.
That is.
Well, I think this has been a great conversation. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Seriously. All of our conversations that we've had thus far. And I look forward to future conversations where we can actually get together in person.
Yes.
Maybe go look at some art together.
That would be fun.
Come see one of your exhibits somewhere when everything kind of cools down again. But yeah, I thoroughly have enjoyed talking with you this evening. It's been a great conversation. We've talked about a lot of different facets of art and life and where we're at as a culture. And it's been, like I said, it's been really wonderful. So thank you for taking time out of your evening to talk with us.
Thanks for having me. Like I said, I don't know why I'm on here, but I don't feel worthy. We are not worthy, but I thank you actually for having me.
I'll tell you why you're on here. You're on here because I love your sense of humor. I think your artwork is incredible. I mean, I do. Wes and I kind of curate this podcast like you would curate an art exhibit. We're always trying to think of who do we think is interesting, who's doing interesting stuff. So, and you're incredibly intelligent and well-spoken. So all those things, that's why you're here. So again, thank you so much for spending some time with us this evening.
I've had a blast. This has been a lot of fun. You're an awesome person. I love your artwork. Like Todd said, thank you for taking time out of your schedule and being an introvert to come and join us crazy guys.
Wait, let me straighten my hat one more time.
And she puts her special hat on.
Look, it's got a feather and everything.
I know, the purple feather at the top. That's awesome.
Right? I'm Robin Hood from Robin. And conspiracy theorist. Which conspiracy just means two people having the same idea at the same time, by the way. You'll probably know that, but for people listening, maybe they shouldn't. Anyways.
It doesn't have to have a negative connotation, that's for sure.
No, definitely not.
We should conspire together again in real life.
Ah, nice.
Huh? I look forward to I look forward to meeting you in person.
I do too. I definitely can't wait to meet you guys and party it up with our talk or whatever that may mean. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Down. Come down here to Denver.
I'll be there eventually. I'm coming. So
I tried to talk him into coming down next weekend, but really? I think we're playing.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. But the problem is, and God bless his wife, I've been traveling, so I'm not too sure she's too keen on me just like showing up and being all in their space when I've been all over the country, all over the Southwest. So I'm kind of like leery about that too. And all the craziness that's happening in the Dakotas with bikers and cowboys and whatever else.
Hey, I'm from Texas.
You're from Texas, so you know all about bikers and cowboys.
I'm seeing it all on Facebook, and I wish I wasn't, but it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
Before we sign off, do you want to promote real quick? I can go first, and then you can promote the doll.
Oh well, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, let me do that real quick. I'll go first here.
Okay.
So our buddy Bill Thomason, Bit Factory gallerist, he has a great show that's been hanging since March in his gallery, and it's now he now has abbreviated hours. So Bit Factory Gallery is located at 851 Santa Fe Drive in Denver. He's got a show called Open Spaces, and his hours right now are Thursday through Sunday, I believe, 11 to 3. I told him that we would mention that he is now open. So bring your mask and go see some phenomenal art at Bit Factory Gallery.
It's an awesome gallery. That was one of the first Fridays we went to. Todd took me down there and met some wonderful artists and just had a really great time. So it's a great place to go. So make sure you do that. And if you're in Rapid City, either coming to visit because you're at the rally or some rodeo, the Doll Fine Arts Center, which is the Rapid City, is owned by the city of Rapid City, run by the Rapid City Arts Council. They have an exhibit called The World from My Side by Roger Bohr, and he's local. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, and they would really like people to stop by and check them out. So support your local artists and local galleries and local organizations when it comes to art.
I need to make a correction. It's Thursday through Saturday for Bit Factory Gallery. So
I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, you should have jumped in.
You should have just jumped.
Jump right in. You're one of us. Just jump right in.
We'll just bring you on as a special
correspondent.
A special correspondent.
I just want to do sound effects.
What? Say that again.
You did great sound effects earlier in this podcast. Actually, throughout that, I was going to mention that. Pretty doggone good. You could be our sound effects person. So yeah, Thursday through Saturday, 11 to 3 at Bit Factory. I misspoke. No Sunday. Closed on Sunday. And Clifford Still Museum, if you caught our episode with Dean Sobel, the director of the Clifford Still Museum, if you don't know anything about Clifford Still, listen to that episode. He was quite an interesting person and artist. They are open, and I believe you need to make reservations beforehand. You call ahead, you buy tickets, and then you get a specific time so that everybody can be social distancing. So I want to give a shout out to the Clifford Still Museum. And with that, for the Tenet Podcast, I'm Todd Pearson.
And I'm Wes Brown.
Thanks for listening.
Have a great week.
What Wes said, have a great week.